Alright, welcome back. As per our last correction worksheet, we will continue on looking at our storage server. Now this will be iSCSI. And I ran through and checked these this morning before class started on my test server, and so I'll be making up the activity sheets for these and loading them up. Now this is required for your assessment because you'll be required to set up storage and file services on the Windows server as part of assessment 2. So we'll just step through. Alright, so what we're going to add, again using administrative PowerShell, is we're going to install a new Windows feature, that being iSCSI target server is -server, and as usual we want to include, what's the include? Management tools. Now what this is a virtual hard drive that we're going to set up on the server effectively. Now depending on what's going on, you may need to restart or you may not. Okay, so here it says no restart, successful. Alright, sometimes it will come up saying it needs a restart and the success will be a conditional on restart. Okay, depending on what's going on. Alright, so we then want to configure it up, and the commands we are going to use is a new iSCSI server target, and the target name. Very creative. iTarget01. You can create it what you want, and we want to create an initiator. ID. Now you need a server target, which is the service, and the initiator is the address or the service that is going to use this service, and we're going to list them in IP address, transfer cap lock on, and 00101. Alright, so the primary server, and I'm going to add the web server as a potential extra one. Alright. Let's put the capitals in so we can break up this little let's see what I target does not have an extra T in it, people. Alright. Yes. This is my coffee, and they're my typos. Alright, so if you don't make typos, it works quite well. New iSCSI server target, target name, the name of the target, and we're saying these two IP addresses of 101 and 102 are two IP addresses that can initiate the iSCSI service. Okay. Now, at the moment, please note here, status not connected. So this virtual disk is not running at the moment. So I'm going to cut and paste this across to limit my embarrassing typos. And it's add dash iSCSI virtual disk target mapping, the target name as per we just created, and the path is C drive iSCSI disk 1 VHDX. Okay. And that. Just is rude. Ah. Alright, I've lost it. I skipped it. Tried to skip a step. This is what happens. Oh dear. iSCSI virtual disk path. Create the path. And we want to size it in bytes as 10 gigabyte. Typos are going to be the death of me. Which parameter is not valid? He's suddenly going all path sensitive on me. Yep. Alright. So what's the difference from that command to this command? Case sensitive. No, I said DK. It should have been DX. Did I mention my typing will be the death of me yet? Alright. Now, not enough coffee. Exactly. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it, alright? Alright, so now we can mount, now that we've created the virtual disk, okay, and have the path there, we can now add the target mapping Yes, I had that one right. Alright, now we have the pathing there. Next, we want to set the iSCSI server target. It'd be alright if I was typing in the window that I wanted to be typing in. So, set iSCSI server target continuation. This is the tilde one. And we want to set the target name as iSCSI 01. And we want to enable the chap. Now, chap is an authentication type, and the variable is true. Wrong quote. And then we want to set the chap to be new object, PS red central, username, convert to secure string as plain text, user P this is password, so we want to put our capitals in. Close off 1, close off 2, close off 3. And hopefully I've typed that all correct. Yeah, it's being case sensitive. Alright. Yep, told you, case sensitive. And the target name. So we come back up here. This target name is case sensitive. There was once a time that Microsoft used to be not case sensitive. You could, now that it's got built-in Linux, it's case sensitive. Alright, so let's confirm alright, confirming, so we get iSCSI server target name iSCSI target 01, and the chat username is username, the initiator IP addresses, the target as a virtual disk, and it's still currently not connected. So we need to restart the service, and then we need to configure the service as the initiator so that it can start the service. So Alright, so let's clear that off. Now we're going to start a service, and the name of the service is Scuzzy. No, it's MS Scuzzy. MSI Scuzzy. Then we want to set the service. Name of the service we are is MSI Scuzzy, and we want to set it to start up type automatic. So the service will start when it's called. Now we want a new iSCSI target port tool, and the target portal address is 10.0.0.101, the server address that we want to access the virtual drive from. And why didn't you tell me I spelled portal wrong? Come on guys, you're supposed to be my typing assistants here. Okay, so we've started service, we've turned the service to automatic, and we've told it where to connect to. Yes, this is yeah, the good old paperclip. Alright, so if we use the get command to bring up the iSCSI target, and here it is. So we have it all nicely laid out. Now what we want to do is we want to connect to iSCSI target, continue the command, and the node address is that. All this is the node address. This is why we got the iSCSI target, so we could get that. Copy and paste. Continue the parameters. Now we want to set up the authentication type to be one-way chat. Continue, and we want to say the chat username is username. Continue parameters, and we want to say the chat secret, i.e. the password, is user password 01. continue, and is persistent, and that variable is true. Enter. Did I miss? Where's that paperclip, Christopher? Now what's wrong? Authentication failure. Known address, chat. Alright. This is a little frustrating. So we want give me a text document. Why haven't you opened? Okay, so one-way chat needs to be in capitals as well. By the looks of it. Alright. I'll go back to using capitals where capitals are in. Alright, so if we get the iSCSI connection, we have a connection there, and going to use the get disk command with a format parameter on it. Alright, I'll type it. We want to be that way inclined. Format hyphen table hyphen auto size hyphen wrap. Alright, so here's our virtual hard drive. It's healthy, it's offline, it's 10 gigabytes, and it's raw. So now we want to bring it online. So we need to set disk, and the disk number is 1, and the parameter is offline, and we want to turn around and say that that is now false, i.e. Can you guys correct my typing, please? Really? Alright, so we now want to initialize the disk. Number 1, and we want the partition type to be GPT. Alright, what did I not type this time? Partition type. Style. Now if we get our get disk back up, it's now online, and it's GPT for partition style. Now, before we can actually format it, we need to give it a drive name number. So we need a new partition on disk number 1. Use maximum size, and we want it to assign a drive letter. And let's hope my typing worked. Yay! Okay, so the drive letter that's been assigned is F, and you'll see here we're now getting, you need to format the drive before you can use the command. So you could come in here and format the disk using Explorer, or we can just go format volume drive letter F file system NTFS, and we're going to force the format. Drive F is now formatted with NTFS. So we now do the get disk information. Virtual drive, it's still online, just like there. And the next one we need is get volume. Alright, so there's our lovely F drive, all ready for use. So now if we open up Explorer, this PC, we have a C drive, D drive, which isn't formatted. Remember, we created that D drive when we set up the virtual machine. got the DVD drive and our new local disk F drive, which is that iSCSI virtual disk. Now we've created this virtual disk. Now we need to install the file server options to make use of it. Oh, I'll just clear that off. So back to installing a Windows feature, and it's to do with the file system, and this time we're going to install the file server. Cool. So what we want to do, we want to create a directory in F drive called share. Ooh, mucky. Share all. And now we want to share that share all. So it's a new Smb share, and the name of the share will be share all, and the path will be F drive share all, and we're going to provide full access to everyone. And I know what I've done. I really should type my check my typing. Oh dear. All right, now we need to grant people permissions to actually write to that directory. So these are called incals. And they belong, we're talking about F drive, they're all, and we're going to grant everyone the following All right. So now if we look at what we've set up by get Smb share, The name of the share that we want to have information on is share all, and again format the list with property of wildcard, and there we have. So share states online, final system directory, people have unrestricted access, path is F drive, share all. So it's all nicely set up. Now, you could if you wanted to restrict Jacob, welcome. Good morning, lad. No, tomorrow morning, Wednesday, I want to start at 10:30. Not today, mate. All right, recap. You'll have to watch the first video of the session, which was the fixing the mistakes that were imposed on us by ServerWorld's instructions, because your dumbass instructor didn't test everything before he started. So the basis is domain controller, DNS, DHCP, create a domain admin account to authenticate the DHCP with, and then we're good to go. You're all caught up? Okay, so we just went through and created a share and granted everyone access to it. You can, when you create the share, is you can actually, instead of doing the full access to everyone, you can actually give it to just a group. Okay, so when you're sharing directories, you can actually limit who can access the directories by using the group names or within. So we scroll back up to the one that worked here. So here, when the Smb share name, path, full access, everyone, instead of saying everyone, we can put in a group name or an individual user. Why you would specify an individual user doesn't make sense, because then it's just like a personal drive. You're not sharing it really then, are you? By putting in a group name, and then every member of the group has access to the shared folders. Okay, and here when we grant the rewrite attributes, all right, instead of everyone, you're using the group name. Same process, but you're just limiting the group. Instead of having large it to everybody, you can just limit it to the all right. Now, how do I confirm who's got access to this? Well, again, incals Incal CACLS. F drive, share all. Okay, so here's all of our people and groups that have access and what they are. So full, whatever they happen to be. Alright, so alright, so we now have the shared drive. Yes? How do I access it from my machine? From a remote machine. You map the drive. Alright, so on here it's F drive, we can just go there. Alright, but it really doesn't help us. Alright, we're logged in as the administrator. If we were logged in as the user, we'd have different little viewing. Alright, so close my shell. Alright, so if you are on Smb Mapping, and we're going to create a local path, and that path is going to be for a new drive letter, in this case Z drive, continuation, which is our tilde key, and we want to specify the remote path, which is our server name, ml server at server class, and I'm missing a few things here because it's Windows. We need to put a couple of those in front because this is pathing, and then we're going to put the share all in there. Continue the parameters, and we're going to put a username in there. What's the user that's going to be accessing this? Well, and I'm really hoping you remember your parameters of what their passwords are there. Network password is Not valid. Ah! No, it wouldn't be. Because it's not 01, it's 401. Get the right username. Christopher, what did I tell you about correcting my typos for me before I hit enter? Okay, so we now have a Z drive. Now you notice the Z drive's not there. But what happens if I sign out? And sign in as network 401. And network 401 is just a plain Jane user. It didn't. Why aren't you mapping? Do I need to do that as no? Alright, so basically that why did that not come up? So if we get our Smb share, no, Smb mapping. I've got no mapping. Okay, so our server class That's interesting. Is that giving that isn't doing what I thought it would do. Okay. The Explorer, if you're running Explorer as an admin, it will not show you that Z drive mapping. But if it's run as a normal so if we come through system, no, no. Alright, let's get on to our quotas. Okay, so we want to install a new Windows feature to do with file service resource management, so manager. And we want the usual include management tools. Just a couple more commands to go through, guys, and this will be the so we'll have set up file management services and set quotas for users. Okay, so that's installed. No restart required. So if we just refresh ourselves with what is happening with the share. Alright, so these are what's happening. So we can have a look at the templates that are applied, that we can apply to those shares. So there's our F drive share role. Okay. So if we get the SRM, so that's file service, remote management, quota, template. Now, these are templates that are in there. Right. Obviously, we don't want a 200 gigabit volume usage or volume share, monitoring, limiting. Alright, so 2 gig limit, 5 gig limit, 10 gig limit. So what we want to do is now say that we want to use what's going on? I'm getting invaded. Alright. We want to apply a new quota to the path of F share all. And we want to apply the description limit usage to 200 megabytes based on template. Whoop, close the quotes. In the template that we are going to use, scroll up, scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. Is that one? Or do we want that one? That one. Type in the template name and close the quotations. Now, if I've done it correctly, based on my typing experience so far today, woohoo, no red. Limit usage 200 based on template, and the template's 200 megabits limited with 50 megabytes extensions. Okay. So we have now put a limit on the share all for usage of 200 megabytes per second. Per second, it's not transmission, folks. Alright, so we have now just added our users to have a quota. We could apply it to everything, but that'll do. So this is now our file server setup. Quotas limiting our users to 200 megabits in that shared drive. Okay. There's only one other thing to set up, which I haven't actually looked at yet. So I'll come back to that one at a later stage. I think that's been enough for this recording. So basically the print services is the last thing we need to set up on the Windows machine. But we'll do that at another time. We'll suspend this here and end our recording. Alright, so again, I'll just